dressed at all spectral. I think Dave and I share that, maybe at least spectral outfits. Fellow Toastmasters and guests, delighted this opportunity to tell you a little bit about myself this evening. I come before you as a speaker tonight, hopefully a high fidelity speaker. We'll see how that goes. So thank you. The theme, Standing on the Shoulders of Giants, I crafted that with the help of my mentor, Dave. So if things don't work out, if things fall apart on me tonight, it comes back to Dave. If by chance I meet with success of any sort, I take full credit for it. Of course. Of course. Well, what I'd like to share with you, going back to teenage years, very strong interest I've had is jazz music. Again, reference to the speaker. Mainstream jazz, free-form jazz, John Coltrane sort of jazz. That interest developed further out of high school into college days for me. College days, met up with like-minded folk and was able to go out to concerts, see jazz concerts, was able to discover periodicals like Downbeat in the university library, films of jazz musicians, documentaries, biographies. So the jazz musicians, to me, represented giants. Well, why are they giants? Well, of course, they're masters of their craft, virtuosos, and the way I see it, they're living life the way we all should strive. They're maximizing their human potential. So they're giants to me. Now, standing on the shoulders of giants is beyond just being entertained or admiring somebody. It's obviously discovering something profound in somebody, and being able to incorporate that into your character, to be able to act on that, to be able to demonstrate that. I'll get to that. Jazz music, improvisational music, speaks to my character, I think. That's one of the main reasons I picked that, of what to share tonight. Throughout the years, early on and throughout the years, I've wanted to avoid feeling that I was a rigid thinker, a black and white thinker. Someone who thinks in terms of good and bad, right and wrong. Rather than that, I'd like to be able to think about all possibilities, view things, all things through different lenses, different angles, different perspectives. Jazz music, the control is with the musician. The musician isn't so tightly bound, and the musician has that ability to go off on a journey, to be more creative, I think. And that's why I think it matches with my personality. Through college, late 80s now, as far as timeline goes, I'm looking for adventure. I don't go to jazz concerts for many years to come. And the reason is, I go to work in Bethel, Alaska. I work for the Yupik Eskimo tribe out there for a couple of years. From there, I go down to Four Corners, Navajo, and live, don't look for it on the map, Many Farms, Arizona, dead center of the Navajo reservation. I'm there a couple of years. Then I go out to the middle of South Dakota and work with Crow Creek Sioux Tribe in the field of public health. Need a new direction at that point. My wife and I leave that world behind. We move to Tampa, Florida, and I go to graduate school at University of South Florida. My wife's in healthcare. She works at a hospital down there. From that point forward, so we're mid-90s, on up to present. I'm either living in a big city or around a big city. So I'm able to go back to jazz concerts. And when I do, I take it one step further than in the past. As you know, with jazz music, they tend to play at smaller venues. What I find is even a lot of the big name people, I'm seeing Chick Corea and Herbie Hancock, a lot of them after the show, they'll come out and talk to you. And so I'm one of the throng there gathering, able to exchange a few words. I start collecting autographs. Get a lot of autographs. I've got Joey DeFrancesco, John McLaughlin, on and on over the years. Anyway, for those years that followed, then, it's Tampa. I take a job in Longview, Washington, and over there a couple of years. In 2000, come to Wenatchee Longview's close to Portland, Wenatchee, not too far to Seattle. See a lot of jazz shows. Well, standing on the shoulders of giants, back to the theme. Where does that all come into this? Well, I recall probably about 5 years ago, somewhere in that, I go over to see Freddie Cole, Nat's youngest brother. Freddie's still touring, by the way. He's in his 80s now, but he's stuck. So a few years back, I go see Freddie Cole at Jazz Alley in Seattle. After the show, Freddie comes out, and nobody approaches, and more intimidating than an icebreaker speech. Yeah, I've got to be the first one, because I think this is my window of opportunity if I'm going to meet Freddie Cole. And so I do, and I talk to him just a bit and get his autograph. So I'm walking on the moon. Go back to the workaday world a couple of days later. Lady I worked with, I got along with quite well. She was a jazz fan too. She had a great story about meeting Keith Jarrett, in fact, great jazz composer, Keith Jarrett. Get a conversation, she's thrilled. She's like, oh, Freddie's still around touring yet. So that a very positive vibe. I'm loving telling her about this experience with Freddie Cole. Conversation shifts though. There's something going on in the workplace. There's folks are upset. She's upset. And I know her well enough, so she's talking to me, you know what's going on. Yeah, okay. So we get into this conversation, a lot of back and forth. Eventually, she turns to me, and she says, what would you do, this work situation? What would you do? And I thought, I was in this positive frame, but then I got pulled into this negative frame, and I didn't like that. And I thought of this improvisational style, and in a spontaneous way, I was just about to engage that issue rationally, thinking, well, your options could be, and then something clicked with me, and I looked at her, and I said, I got Freddie Cole's autograph. And she's kind of perplexed initially, and then she started to laugh. She's like, I'm with you. Let's not worry about this. At that moment, I felt like I was standing on the shoulders of giants. I felt like we were standing on the shoulders of giants. I was able to take that back to a positive vibe, and I think we both had that connection. What's important in life? And so that's my message. That's how I was standing on the shoulders of giants, is we don't have to get dragged along or boxed in necessarily in life. We can chart our own destiny, and if we want to have a positive view, that's our choice.